All right, guys, we're going to try something different, fun, exciting, etc. Um, by the way, this is some video that I shot out in Oklahoma. This is from, uh, or Texas, excuse me. This is going to be the Texas. No, was this Booker? Yeah. Yeah, Booker, Texas. This is back into Texas. So the same storm that I showed earlier in the semester, where I said the guy made $1 million by selling his video to Thor, and then I was closer, but I didn't make any money. This same storm. This one it's just a different vantage point. This is after we drove through town, and we're honking at everybody because there was a tornado warning, and everyone's up on their roofs and up on their cars looking to see if they can see the tornado also. Here in a second, some other curious amateur storm chasers are going to roll up, and I'm going to have to move the camera, if I remember right. You can see a couple of lightning strikes in there. Here's some hail from Claude, Texas. This is a golf ball and baseball-sized hail, what it did, and a lot like what happened in Hattiesburg just yesterday, day before yesterday. Would have been you get all this rain and all this hail, and you get hail dams, and it backs up all the water, and then finally the hail dam breaks, and then you get a flood of water. And so I think a lot of the flooding that we had in Hattiesburg and points nearby was a lot of that. I mean, yeah, yes, you had a lot of rain, but you also had the hail with it that kind of backed stuff up and got in the way. I ended up with almost basically knee-deep water in my backyard for a very similar reason. But what we're going to do today, I know I said no more structured lectures, but I am a fat liar. No, what we're going to do today is, I know some of you guys are having trouble with the assignment, and usually, since we do these in class, like we get to talk through everything, and so... And I've made changes to the physical assignment. I've already given you guys free points, and if you haven't seen the free points email, I recommend checking your email for that free points email. A lot of moving pieces, and I know things are a little bit different than they normally would be, and so I'm trying to respect that. And so what I'm going to do is we're going to go through part of the assignment today in class, and I'm going to walk you guys through kind of filling out something on the assignment, and more free points, I suppose. And hopefully that'll help you finish the rest of the assignment. Hopefully. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to stick me up in the corner, and here's the assignment. So I'm going to pull up, here's the assignment right here. I've already opened up all of our different times in here, 0, 3, 6, and 9. And we're just going to go through the assignment. But what I'm going to do, instead of going through it kind of piece by piece, let's just start by filling out the spreadsheet. And we can do that pretty quickly. And what we're going to do is, I'm not going to give you all the answers to everywhere. Let me see if I can't fix this microphone real quick. I'm not going to give you all the answers to everywhere. But what I am going to do, that's not going to work. What I am going to do is we're going to go through one of the places, and this may be a place that you picked, and maybe it's a place you didn't. In order to pick a place and to keep myself from giving away any answers, what I did was I put the numbers 1 through 6 in a cup. Here's my cup. And I picked a number, 1 through 6, and I picked out 6 times, and whatever number I got twice was the number of the one that I did numbered 1 through 6 on here, and that's how I picked a town. So you never know. This could be the town that you're watching, and it could be a town that no one cares about. But what it's going to do is hopefully I'll walk you through exactly what you need to do. So we can start up at 300 millibars with Divergence. And again, for part 1 on here, remember, so let me go back to the sound real quick. For part 1, what you're doing is you're going to look through all the information for all 6 cities. And then what you're going to do is you're going to choose 3 that you feel have the best chance for severe weather. And then you're going to fill out those for each of the forecast hours, 0, 3, 6, 9. So you're looking at this and you're going, well, wait a second, Nick, I only see one town. I don't see 0, 6, 3, 9. Yes, we're going to have to, Control C, Control V. and make different ones. Or what we can do, a lot like I did down here, is we can just stack things on top of each other. But what I'm going to do is I'm not going to go through all of the forecast hours. What I'm going to do is I'm going to help you guys fill out part 1, forecast hour 0, to help kind of get the inertia out of the way, to help you guys kind of get moving on some things. Baton Rouge was the winner. Number 1 was picked twice out of my wonderful Mobile, Alabama, February 14th, 2020 Mardi Gras Cup. Congratulations to them for getting a free shout out. So let's start out with Divergence. We can do this up at 300 millibars for your forecast hour 0. I go to 300 millibars, and we're going to open this in a new tab, and then we're going to look. And here we are down in Baton Rouge, right about there. So the question is, do we have divergence? We've got a trough here. Our lines are real close, and then they spread out. I would say, yes, we have divergence. And just like that, we're off and running. Jet streak and region. Are we in a jet streak here at 300 millibars? No, not really. I suppose you could argue that if we were in any region at all, we would be in the rear right region, or the entrance region of the jet. So the right entrance region, if you wanted to pick one, I'm going to go ahead and say no. We're not in a region for the jet streak. All right, well, we answered those questions. That's done. So we can go down to 500 millibars. So we'll open 500, 500, and 500. And our first one up is, do we have divergence? And we can pick this out of any 3 of these things if we really wanted to. I prefer wind, just because, why not? And we're again down here in Baton Rouge. I would argue, not really divergence happening. We're basically sitting in a place where you've got your geopotential heights here are actually, if anything, we have a little bit of convergence as we're running over the top of this ridge of high pressure down here. However, I don't think we've got convergence either, so I'm just going to no. Nothing really there either. Okay, well, so what's our temperature? All right, well, let's figure this out. So Baton Rouge is where we go from basically yellow to kind of that orangish color, so we're sitting kind of somewhere between -5 and -10. However, there's a much easier way to figure this out. And for that, we can go back and grab our Baton Rouge, our skew T. We just go to skew T up at 500 millibars. So there we are, right there. And we would say, we got to look real close, probably somewhere. There's your 10, -8. Yeah, sure, let's go with -8. How about that? -8. All right. What's your wind speed and direction? Well, for that, we can either go back to our wind speed and direction and try and figure out what it's doing in here by looking real close and zooming in real far. Or we can just go back to here. And, sometimes it's easier to just look here. We're out of what? The southwest at 50 knots? That seems pretty easy, right? Okay, so we come in here, we say southwest at 50 knots. Just like that. Do we have any vorticity? Okay, so we got to go back to our maps for this. So we go back to our vorticity map, and here we are down here in Baton Rouge, and that answer is no. Well, we don't have any shading, so the blue is the positive vorticity. The red is negative vorticity. Of course, we want the negative, or the positive and negative. I got to flip-flop, sorry. We want positive vorticity advection, not negative, so we don't have either in this case. So no, we don't have either. Do we have vertical velocity? If you would have read your email about this, well, you just got to write in free points in here with an exclamation point, or else you don't get the point. Free points, because we didn't include that. I didn't include that in the maps that I gave you. So again, because this is an abridged assignment, I tried to kind of ease things back for you guys, because I know there's enough going on in life right now. And so 3 points there. Do we have any trophiness? Are we trophy at all? I would say no, not maybe. We don't have much divergence, so I gotta say no. I think we're closer to this ridge of high pressure down here than we certainly are to that area of low pressure. So the answer is no. 700 millibars. All right, so we close down these maps, close down that map, close down this map. We go down to 700 millibars, and we've got 700 here, 700 there, and 700 there. So we've got your vertical motion. Well, wait a second. We got to do temperature first. All right, so we go over to temperature. Oh no, there's no map. Nick, we don't have a 700 millibar temperature map. Oh, but don't worry. You can get your temperature off the QT, off the sounding here. So we just go down to 700 millibars. We follow it over. There's your red line, and then we look real close in here and make sure that we line things up. I would argue that you're sitting at about 12 degrees C, give or take. So we'll call 12 degrees C. 12 degrees C. And this was negative 8 C. Forgot to put the C in there. No, I meant, yeah, okay. I meant negative C. Just negative C. Sure. Okay. I don't need any help. Oh my God. 8 degrees Celsius. Why is this so difficult for you to figure out? No. I don't need any help. All right. Negative 8 it is. I hope that at least one of you gets a laugh out of that. We're fine. We can do 12C down here, but heaven forbid we put negative 8C up here. How about a negative 8C? Well, what about... No, we can't do that either, can we? No, it's... Yeah, okay. Yeah, I get it. Okay. Well, if you run into a similar problem... Alright. Oh, that's fun. You know, the interesting thing is when I go through stuff and I run in Excel, I've never run into that problem before. Okay, wind speed and direction. We can go back over here. Wind speed and direction. Again, we can look at this and we see, okay, out of the south, southwest, or we can just go right back in here. Okay, let's look in here. Well, that's kind of a mess, isn't it? Okay, so let's go back over here. And I would say out of the south-southwest, it probably, let's go with 30... Let's go 40. Let's go 40 out of the south-southwest at 40. South-southwest at 40 knots. And again, I've always said that you guys don't have to do south-southwest. You guys could do southwest or south. But we'll do south-southwest. Okay, do we have any vorticity? Oh yeah, that's right. We didn't do the void. That was the other free points. Free points! Oh my goodness, so many free points. Do we have any vertical motion in the atmosphere? And again, you're looking for that shading, and the answer here is yes. We do have some vertical motion happening in the atmosphere. All right, so we go down to 850 millibars because I gave you the relative humidity, and that may come into play a little bit later for some things. But we'll go ahead and close those down and close this down, and then we'll go back in and look at 850, 850, and 850 here. And just a quick reminder that, okay, hold on. When you're grabbing stuff, we just opened up all the maps, but when you're grabbing stuff, you can always grab stuff straight from this QT. So 850, yeah, sure, we can look at, there's the temperature. We can look at the temperature map on this if we want to, or we can just load up this QT and say, okay, well, where are we at? Well, we're somewhere about 17 degrees C, and your dew point is about -2. So you can come over here and say 17 and -2. Hope you guys enjoyed that trip around. I don't know why you guys just decided to take a journey. Let's try this again. 17 and -2. It's a fun trip for everybody, right? Wind direction and speed. You can grab that off of the QT as well. In this case, it's actually pretty easy to see. Out of the southwest at about 30 knots. So we can come back down here. Out of the southwest at 30 knots. Away we go. And vertical velocity. Okay, well, I didn't give you this map. you can try and grab it out of here. You say, okay, well, am I driving the car upside down? You could say from 850 upward, maybe not until you get about 700 millibars, but you're also driving up a sheer cliff. So I'm going to say no vertical motion. Now, you may say, well, Nick, you didn't include a map, and you're spot on. I didn't. So while we figured out the answer, you still get free points. So congratulations. Everybody gets free points. Free points for all. Equal opportunity free pointer. So now we're going to look down at 925 and close all these down. We can open back up our 925s that are in here. Well, we only have one. Well, the good news is everything that we need for 925, really, we can pull off of this QT here. At 925, that's going to be probably just about the one notch up from 1,000 millibars here. So we can slide on over, and you can say about 23, 24, and about let's call it 19 just for grins. So 24 and 19, and your wind. This one may be a little more difficult to see. It looks like out of the south at maybe 15 knots, and you come in here out of the south at 15 to 20, probably 20 knots. We'll say 20 knots. Out of the south at 20 knots. All right. South, 20 knots. There we go. So then, you got to do part two. So we can come over here and we say, okay, well, what's part two? Part two is looking at all of the data and figuring out what the forecast is for the surface. Well, now that we've looked at all of this, then we can go back in here and make a forecast for the surface. So surface temperature, surface dew point, we can pull that right off the QT. That's easy doing. 86 and 72. So let's scroll down here. Here we go. 86. Here we go. 86. 72, there we go. Wind direction and speed should be out of the south at about 10 knots. Okay, south at 10 knots. South at 10 knots. Sky conditions. Okay, so we've got a lot of dry air in here. Maybe a little bit of moistening up as you get closer to the surface with some of that vertical mixing. But a lot of the vertical mixing is going to be in the lowest level of the atmosphere. So you could say, okay, well, we get to saturation here, so we're plenty dry up here. Remember the lecture that I went through where I showed the skew T compared to what was actually happening in the sky? Remember I showed out at the TV station, we had the cirrus clouds, the cumulus clouds. Same idea here. We're going to have the cumulus clouds a little bit lower. Do we have any high clouds? No. So we'll call this, we'll say partly cloudy. Partly cloudy. Do we have any precip? And, well, no, I think we're a little too dry, right? We would need some kind of omega happening in a place where we've got maybe a saturated atmosphere, or at least a reasonably close to being saturated atmosphere. And then what we need, we got to go back up here. We got to double check. Did we have divergence? Yes, we did. Were we near a jet streak? And not really. We didn't really have divergence at 500, though. So we had it way up high, but we didn't have it a little bit lower in the atmosphere. On top of that, while we did have vertical motion happening at 700 millibars, where we were pulling that air from down at 850 is bone dry. It's 17 degrees C temperature, but a -2 dew point. So we're probably not going to have much in the way of cloud cover, so we're partly cloudy. And no, we're not going to get precip. And if we're not going to get precip, we're not going to have severe weather. It's very difficult to get severe weather with no cloud cover, right? So no. And then part three, we can go back over here, part three. Part three, remember, is explain who has the best chance for severe weather. Well, at this point, you've already got, you're a 0 for Baton Rouge, so you've got no threat thus far. Now, could this change as we move into the future? Sure could. Sure could. So you gotta do the rest of the forecast hours. However, at this point, I would say, well, no, you're not doing anything. You don't have any severe weather. So, come on. I'll have you know that this is not the first class that I've recorded. As I'm sure most of you are aware, because most of you guys have watched the previous lectures. But for whatever reason today, I cannot get my clicking down very well. My goodness, that was horribly done. Well, at least you could still see everything, right? Okay, sweet. That's all that matters, I suppose. Anyway, there's your lecture for today. Hopefully this helps you guys out finish your assignment. The email that I'll include with the link to this will have some extra information about figuring out how to solve and finish your assignment, as well as due date information and everything. But my guess would be, with you watching this, you already read that email, so I'm glad you read that email. Good job, everyone. We've got the midterms coming up too, so keep that in mind. Do know, and I've said this before, that the midterm is going to be commensurate with the way life is right now. I'm not blind to that at all. So just make sure that you study up for that, but also recognize that you don't need to have don't stress out too much about it. You guys have other things you need to stress out about right now, not this class. So. Study up, and hopefully this answers your questions. If you have any more questions, feel free to email, and don't forget to write in free points with that exclamation point, or else no points for you.